Hey guys, thanks for clicking on today's video. If this is your first time, hi, my name is Emmy. I am married with 2 children and I like to create budgeting content where I talk about my family's journey and how we plan to get out of over $200,000 worth of debt. So if that sounds like something that sounds interesting to you, then please feel free to keep watching, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and I'll try to answer any questions or interact with you down there. I love answering all of your comments and questions, which kind of leads me into today's video. A couple of videos ago, I asked you all to leave me some questions so that way I could do a bit of a Q&A whenever I was setting up my November budget. That way when I lay down my stickers, I would be able to answer some questions while I did that, so it wouldn't just be a video of me putting stickers down. Real talk, the past couple of weeks have been pretty bad for me. Without getting into too much detail, you know what? No, I pride myself in being as transparent with you guys as I possibly can be. I let you know when we fail on our budget. I give you all of our real numbers, how much we get paid, how much we're spending on everything, and no matter what kind of ridicule I think I'll get from you guys, you're still very supportive of everything that my family does. So here it goes. I have been diagnosed with depression and anxiety for a really long time. I've been taking medication. I've been seeing a psychologist in order to help me with those emotions that tend to come up. I regularly have panic attacks depending on my stress levels and the different situations that I'm in. And the past couple of weeks have been extremely stressful. My depression and anxiety increased tenfold after I had children. I believe the postpartum depression kind of just propelled my already diagnosed depression into something even bigger and even more, to where I didn't really know what to do with myself. It was a very dark time. So but now my son is 6, my daughter is 2, and the postpartum, the hormonal, I guess, parts of it all are, they have subsided, but my panic attacks and anxiety episodes, those have not, unfortunately. Really the biggest thing that kind of, I guess, triggered it all is it's been really hard these past couple of weeks to do things. Right now, my husband, he is finishing up, or he did finish up, the past couple of weeks. He finished up the marching band season. His band performed wonderfully at state competition. They brought home some medals and trophies and so many awards. And I mean, besides that, the kids performed just so well. With the marching band, though, comes a lot of dedication to his work. And so even though I am married, the past couple of weeks have been very difficult, where he had to put in a lot more time towards rehearsals and competitions, and his high school, the high school he teaches at, the football team happens to be doing really well, so they are in the playoffs right now. And the marching band, they play in the pep band to kind of, to support the football team. So he's late Friday nights as well. And I do work from home, but I do work full time. And just because I work from home, that doesn't mean that I don't work at all, if that makes sense. Like, I still take calls, I still answer emails, I still do the day-to-day things that people would normally do in an office job. I just do it at home. And I guess the past couple of weeks I felt lonely. That's not even the right word, because it sounds like I was lacking intimacy, like not even anything romantic. That's not really what it was. It was just, I felt like I was doing everything by myself. Not only was I trying to balance all of my responsibilities for work, which I had people go on vacation and I had to pick up their slack, but that's neither here nor there. Work on top of being a mom, on top of taking care of a house, all by myself. Like, I sing praises to all of you single parents out there because I can't do it. I literally, it was so hard. I mean, okay, to be fair, I did it. My children ate. They were bathed. We all had things to eat. We lived in a semi-clean home for the past 2 weeks. So it was done. It was accomplished. But I don't know. I am my own worst critic, I guess. I have high standards for myself and what I believe I should be able to achieve. Ooh, I'm going to start crying. And it bums me out when I have these high expectations for myself because I believe I should be able to do this because it's like everybody else can do this. Think of all the single parents who do this, or maybe not single parents, but other working parents who make it work. Why is it that you can't make it work? And I started talking to myself negatively in that way, which really began the downward spiral. So needless to say, filming was kind of at the bottom of the priority list. I'm really sorry. But when it came down to it, it was like wake up, take the kids to school and daycare, work, do the laundry, do the dishes, make sure you have dinner ready. I had to Instacart all the groceries because I didn't have enough time to leave the house and actually go shopping. Because I work from 8 to 5. And by the time I get off, I immediately have to go to pick up kids from their after school care. And then by the time I come home from that, it's 6 o'clock. That's dinner time, and it was just really hard that every single responsibility fell on me for the past 2 weeks. And because of that, something had to give. And for the past 2 weeks, that was filming. And I'm really sorry about that. But I am here now. I'm here to answer the questions that you guys left on my previous YouTube video. And thank you again for everybody who did ask questions. I'm not going to lay down the stickers while I answer them because, to be honest, I had to lay down the stickers already. It's already November 14th, so my budget had to get started. So instead of laying down stickers while I answer the questions, I'm just going to answer them. But before I do that, I decided to help myself through all of these struggles. I wanted to buy myself a new planner. So I went online and I found the self-care planner from Simple Self. This is not sponsored, by the way. This is just something that I found when I did a Google search. Due to my new promotion at work, I have meetings all the time. Plus, I'm training lots of people who are going to be part of my team. And so I really needed an hourly planner. And so I really liked how this planner happened to have an hourly schedule, but it's also very focused on self-care. Every day it says, I am grateful for. What is your top goal for today? You can list all of your to-dos. What did you do for self-care today? What did you do for exercise today? Because as someone who works from home, sometimes I don't even get up and walk around as much as I should, How much water did you drink? What did you eat? I thought this was really, really good. And they even have different sections at the beginning. Like they have a self-care assessment. So I can I just got this in the mail today, so I haven't really filled this part out. But, to kind of figure out where my needs are mentally do I need? What are some things that I need to build my self-care? Things that I should be doing every year, every month, every week. And then there's even this little cheat sheet where it tells you, like, this is what you can do if you're trying to relax or if you're trying to be comforted. And it just, when I saw this online, I was like, I think I need this. Something where I can physically write down and remind myself, like, you need to take a hot shower, or you need to listen to some music. You know, I need to write that down. Plus, writing down all of my meetings and to-dos for work will help keep my mind organized once it's like vomited on paper. I don't know if anybody else is like that, but I'm gonna give this a try. I purchased the 13-week planner because I didn't want to buy a whole year in case I gave it a try and it didn't work, but it was pretty cheap. It was about $20 something for a 13 weeks, so good enough for me to try. I'm going to give that a try, and we'll see if things improve mentally. All right, so let's get into the questions. I wrote them all down on a little sticky note over here, but so I had a lot of questions about like my teaching career. So for those who don't know, I did used to be a classroom teacher. I taught for 10 years and I left in the middle of the school year. Well, I guess the beginning of the school year. School started is what I'm saying. School started and then I left. It was September of 2021 when I left. And the reason behind it was mostly, well, it was a combination of things. Of course, COVID happened, and when COVID first happened and teaching went online and, you know, students were no longer in the classroom, a lot of people assumed that teachers at first were like the heroes. You know, they threw together lesson plans at the last minute. We were able to give our lessons online, assign assignments online. And, you know, for a while people were singing teachers' praises, and it felt really good that people were like, oh, now I have to help my child do their work at home. I understand what it is that teachers are going through every day, and it felt good to be seen. But then after a couple of months, the narrative shifted and it became, well, teachers are so lazy because they're making me, the parent, do all of the work, which I'm sorry if that was your experience, but that wasn't at least what I was doing. I was still providing not only material, I was providing exercises, I was providing brain breaks, I was providing like video chats with my students. Like, I was very much present, and it seemed like there were a lot of small exceptions where maybe some teachers were using this whole virtual learning as a break. And so they kind of gave the rest of us teachers who actually were working very hard to make sure our students were good. Like, to be honest, in my opinion, like, who cares about the curriculum? Like, during COVID, I could care less if my students learned anything, like, book-wise. My job was to make sure that they were okay mentally. I wanted to make sure that I could be there emotionally for them. I wanted to make sure they knew that even though what's going on in the world is very scary, that I am still here for them, and I wanted to bring some sort of joy in their daily routine. I taught music for 10 years, so as a music teacher, I was able to have lots of different creative outlets for my kids, not just here, listen to a song, but we were able to dance. We were able to find different objects in our house and how can we turn that into an instrument. I felt I was bending over backwards for my kids every single day. And eventually, whenever it came down to it at the end of the day, I would pour my heart into these students of mine that I would have absolutely nothing left for my own kids. And the guilt of that really bothered me. Like, I wanted to be a good mother for them, but I was already a mother to everyone else that day. And that was very hard for me. Sometimes teachers make it work. They're able to re-energize, I guess. Like, if you're giving everything to your students, there's something that helps you get that energy back, like a supportive parent or supportive administration, or maybe you put on a concert and then, you feel great from your students' performance. I didn't have any of that. I had an unsupportive administration, like an administration who really looked down on what it is that I was doing. People considered what I was doing babysitting. I was the music teacher. I don't teach real things, right? I'm just a place for the classroom teacher to drop off their kids while they go have their planning period, is how my school environment unfortunately was. I didn't have supportive parents when I would give students assignments, which were not that difficult. I mean, it was like, go create a dance to this song or something like that. It wasn't like write a 10-page essay on Beethoven or anything. But I received a lot of backlash from parents saying that I shouldn't be giving assignments at all, that I'm not a real teacher anyway, following the same rhetoric that was given by my administration. And so if I were to if I were to bring up these situations to my administration, they kind of would be brushed aside because, I mean, let's be honest, they thought the same thing. So I didn't have support there. And with COVID, even when we came back into the classroom, there were so many precautions when we came back. There was, I wasn't allowed to sing with my students due to the spread of the coronavirus. We weren't allowed to share instruments, which I taught at a Title I school where we had to share everything. There were not enough resources for every student to have their own whatever. So if I couldn't share, if we couldn't sing, what is it we can do in music? It became very difficult, and I kept telling myself, it's okay, this is all temporary, it's okay, it's gonna pass, it'll be fine. And when we came back in 2021, and COVID, it was slowing down, the numbers were going down, slowly the precautions were being taken away. That didn't change the other things, the environment of it all. So I was applying for jobs, and this stay-at-home position opened up, and I took it. And it was in the middle of the school year, or, the end of September, beginning of October, when I began this new job. And I was afraid of losing my teaching license. I was afraid of making a big career change. I taught music for 10 years, and now all of a sudden I'm going to work for an insurance company. I know nothing about insurance. Like, it was a complete career shift. My degree is not in insurance. My degree was in music education. So, like, what am I doing? I'm starting completely over. But honestly, it was the best decision I could have made. Everyone at my company is so supportive of each other. They promote internally. They want you to be successful, which is not what I experienced, unfortunately, at my school. Yeah, sorry, that was a big ramble there on that question, but I did teach for 10 years, and I taught kindergarten through 12th grade. I started teaching high school chorus for 2 years. So I taught 9th through 12th graders. And then I taught elementary school for, let's see, I taught at one school for 3 years. And that was kindergarten through 5th grade, and that was an autism satellite school. So I had several classes with self-contained students and also students with autism and other special needs who were pushed into the regular classroom. And then my last couple of years, what was that? 5 years, I think, was at another elementary school where I taught kindergarten through 5th grade. And so I've taught all grade levels, kindergarten through 12th grade. The only grade level I haven't taught was middle school, and it takes a special person to teach middle school. Yeah, so that's why I left teaching. A lot of me wanted to stick with it, and there are times where I miss teaching. I'm the person who played school with her stuffed animals when I was 5 years old. Like, I've always wanted to be a teacher. But instead of moving to a different school, teaching somewhere else, the state that I live in happens to think, not poorly, but they don't prioritize public education and what's going on in public education and how we can make that better. And it's really a national problem, to be honest. The United States really needs to do more in terms of funding for students, and I could go on a complete tangent, but that's not why you guys are here. But anyway, I decided that draining all of my energy for somebody else's kids and not my own kids, for a system that was corrupt, in my opinion, a system that was unsupportive, in my opinion, and something that just left me drained and unhappy by the end of the day, I just couldn't continue with that profession. And now I'm really, really happy with what it is that I'm doing. So yeah, it ended up being a good thing. Okay, let's see. What's another question? How old am I and my husband? I am 31 years old, and my husband is also 31 years old. He is technically 2-ish months older than me. We met in college. We were both music education majors. We started dating when we were juniors in college. And it's really funny because my husband, he was kind of like the class clown. He would always crack jokes and make things, funny. And I am the first in my family to go to college. So I was like very into my studies, and I was not interested in him at all. But then I did something where I baked some cupcakes for a Valentine's Day event, and he ended up purchasing some. And later he texted me telling me how delicious they were, and the rest is history. So whenever we tell people how we met, we always say that, like, I won him over through my baking. But anyway, so we got married. We had our 2 children. Oh, we also do have a pet. That was another question. They wanted to know if we had any pets. We have 1 cat. He is, he's about 10 years old now. He was an old, could fit in the palm of your hand, tiny, tiny little thing. My sibling found him in, a little bush outside of their dorm. And they told me, please, can you watch this kitty until I graduate? They won't let me keep a cat in my dormitory. And then once I graduate, I'll get this cat back from you. Well, they've graduated since then, and they have not come back to claim the cat. And there have been many, many times where we have told my sibling, please come get your cat. And they're like, nah, it's okay. They're part of your family now. And he kind of is. He is a chubby, chubby, chubby orange cat. and his name is Sir Crumsworth. But we actually don't call him that. We call him Kitty. So if you ever see in my sinking funds where it says Kitty and you think like I'm being mysterious and trying to keep him anonymous, nope, that's really like what we call him. It's Kitty. So yeah, what else are my questions here? Someone asked if I plan on using the same budget layout for 2023. So far, yeah, things seem to be working okay. I do kind of a little tweaked version of what most people are doing in the budgeting community, which is kind of like the budget mom method, or like a variation on that. But I do use my own layout and my own stickers in order to do that. And it seems to be working so far for me. So we'll see. We'll see what 2023 brings. And let's see, another question was, how do I balance my savings, my sinking funds, and paying off debt? That's a great question. I don't. That sounds terrible. I really don't like, okay, first of all, my savings, like my emergency fund, like that has already reached $1,000, which is like the Dave Ramsey method. If you guys are familiar with that, they say to save $1,000 for an emergency fund and then begin working on sinking funds. So we have our $1,000 saved, and so we don't actively put money into savings because of that. However, we do have what's called a Save and Go account through our Wells Fargo bank. And basically, anytime you swipe your debit card or anytime a direct debit comes out of your checking account, they take a percentage of that and they move that directly into your savings account. And so even though I'm not actively moving things into savings, a couple dollars here and there get moved around every month, and by the end of the month I save an additional $20-ish. So it's not a lot, but it's also something that I'm not doing, and it's just it just happens. So that's less thinking for me. That's great. So what we're really saving, if you think about it, it's our sinking funds. Our sinking funds are our saving accounts. That's how I treat them anyway. A lot of people treat sinking funds like they have a specific goal that they want to reach, and once they reach that goal, they're not going to fill up that sinking fund anymore. But a lot of our sinking funds we dip into regularly, but not regularly enough for it to be considered a weekly expense. For example, health. I don't spend from our health category every single week. However, I do take medications. My husband takes medications. And if there's ever a time where someone in the family gets sick, where we have to buy cold medicine, cough drops, even if we need things like Band-Aids or, other things like that, that all comes out of our health sinking fund. So there isn't really a goal for that. Like, I don't want to reach $100 and then be done with it. But we consistently are using money from that account. So I like to always make sure something is being put in there. And that pretty much goes for all of our sinking funds. The only one I can think of that actually has a cap would be probably our car taxes, because I haven't been putting anything in that sinking fund for the past couple of months, because that's reached the threshold of what our car taxes are going to be for the year. But yeah, so I basically get an estimate of how much we spend from our different sinking funds every month, and then I have to make sure that's what's being topped up when I deposit into our sinking funds every month. So like if we spend about $1,000 in sinking funds every month, I need to make sure we're depositing at least $1,000 every month as well, because you want it to keep growing. You don't want it to get into the negative, right? And the past couple of months I've been depositing about $1,100, it's been $1,400, something around there every month, to our different sinking fund categories. And if you guys want, like, I guess a more specific sinking fund video, I can do that to show you like how I've calculated our sinking funds and stuff like that. Let me know if that's something you're interested in the comments. And the last question, or the last part of that question, how do I balance the savings, the sinking funds, and paying off debt? Okay, so the paying off debt part, right now my family is working on just doing the minimum payments for everything, and then whatever I have left over at the end of the month, we are tackling towards our first priority debt, which is currently my Capital One credit card. It has the highest interest rate, and it has the lowest, amount left on it to be paid off. So right now I'm just throwing everything that's extra towards that credit card. And I'm not spending on that credit card either. I don't even know where that credit card is, to be honest. I opened that credit card when I was in college, and that was the dumbest thing I ever could have done. I knew nothing about credit. I knew nothing about budgeting my money. I was in college, and I was the first one in my family to go to college. So it was bad. So all of the spending that's on my credit card was like back from my college days and that I'm still trying to pay off because I've been paying the minimum payment only. And when you do that, plus all the interest, like you're not really taking anything off of your principal balance. It's just a mess, but we're going to get rid of it. I mean, the card is already missing. I don't know where it is. It's probably in my desk drawer somewhere, but I don't need it. I don't need to spend it. I'm fine. I just, want to get it paid off so it is out of sight, out of mind, out of my budget. I don't want to deal with it anymore. Yeah, so that's how I balance my budget. Very like out of sight, out of mind. I don't really deal with it, and then throw everything at debt. So I hope that explains something for you. Yep, I think that's all the questions. I'm looking at my sticky note. Yep, that's everything you guys wanted to know. If you have other questions, or if you have a question about anything I said in this video, or if there's something else you guys just want to talk about, please feel free to leave me a comment down below. I love chatting with you guys. I love interacting with you. This has been a long, chatty, vulnerable video, so thank you guys so much if you stuck around this long. I'm glad you got to know a little bit more about me, and yeah, I'm going to film another video either today or tomorrow where I'm going to go over my November budget with you guys. I actually have to go leave and pick up my daughter from daycare now, so but once I get that filmed, I'll have that video ready for you all. Thank you so much to everyone who consistently watches, all of my subscribers, commenters, viewers. You guys just mean so much to me, and I'm really, really grateful for all of the positivity that you leave me. Even, like I said at the beginning, even through all of my budgeting mistakes, my overspends, you guys are just always encouraging, always uplifting, and it's exactly what helps me keep going. So thank you very much. I hope you guys are enjoying your day. Have a happy rest of your week, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.